Hello, people. Watchman blows the horn here, and I'm blowing the horn as loudly as I can to let people know what time it is so they know what they ought to be doing. Welcome to this presentation. Who is Esau or Edom, the Red One, and why does he have dominion over the earth? You see, Edom and his descendants in particular play a major role in the end times. And from the Bible, it seems that the demise of the descendants of Edom will usher in the return of Yeshua. It therefore becomes imperative for us to understand who Edom and his descendants are. So I ask that you stick with me through this presentation and we can all discover together. You see, the Bible, and in particular the book of Daniel and the extra biblical texts of Second Esdras, speak of four beasts that will arise at the end of time. And Edom and his descendants are associated with one of the beasts, namely the three-headed eagle, according to the book of Second Esdras, represented in the book of Daniel by the eagle wings plucked off back of the lion. You see, Edom and his descendants currently have dominion over the earth. And just before Messiah returns, the dominion of Edom and his descendants will be brought to a close. It is therefore imperative for us to understand who Edom is and who his descendants are, so that we will be in a better position to understand the events that are about to take place on the earth. And in order to do this, we have to go back to the book of Daniel. And I would advise that you, in your spare time, do some extra reading. Look up the second book of Esdras, chapters 11, 12, and 13. I think they will go a long way in enlightening you about what is to come shortly. You see, the Bible is a book of codes, and there are a few codes that let us know that the Bible is speaking about events that will take place at the end of the age. One such phrase is the four winds from the four corners. And the four winds from the four corners are here. We are at the end of the age. the events that'll take place when the four winds strive upon the great sea of humanity, we can find in Ezekiel 7, Ezekiel 37, Daniel 7, Matthew 24, and Revelation 7, all pointing to when the beasts arise at the end of the age, the lion with the eagle wings, the bear with the ribs, the four-headed leopard with the four wings, and the terrible beast with the 10 horns. And so we start with Daniel 7, when the four winds strive upon the great sea of humanity. And we start with the first beast, the lion, which represents Great Britain, Babylon the Great. And this lion has eagle wings, which represents the virgin daughter of Babylon, the United States of America. And then the eagle wings are plucked off the lion, and the lion is raised up and given a human heart. In other words, the virgin daughter of Babylon, United States of America, and Babylon the Great, the UK, will be subdued. But it seems the UK will fare better than the United States of America, as the eagle wings are totally plucked off. And then, of course, we enter the second beast, the bear, with 3 ribs in its mouth, 3 ribs representing the 3 regions ripped out of its neighbor, Donbass, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. And the bear raised itself up on one side by taking these 3 regions. And then the bear is told to arise and devour much flesh. This, I believe, is when the bear will pluck off the eagle wings from the back of the lion. So, the eagle wings, what does that represent? That represents the eagle, spoken of in the book of 2nd Esdras. The 3-headed eagle represents Edom, and Edom is made up of the Caucasian world. You see, the eagle is the virgin daughter of Babylon, the United States of America, which constitutes part of Edom. And the lion is Babylon the Great, the United Kingdom, also constitutes part of Edom. Daniel 7, verse 4. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And then comes the bear, who plucks off the wings from off the back of the lion. And of course, this bear is none other than Russia, Vladimir Putin, who also constitutes part of Caucasian Edom, the red ones. Daniel 7, verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. The bear, who turns to its neighbor and rips off the 3 regions of Donbass, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. You see, the bear, Russia, has secured the 3 ribs ripped out of its neighbor, Donbass, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, and now the bear is about to pluck the wings, the USA, off the back of the lion, the United Kingdom, when it is given permission to devour much flesh. Daniel 7. And so we will now take a closer look at the 3-headed eagle, Edom. The United States, Russia, the European Union, the Caucasian world that currently has dominion over the earth, Edom. So, the second book of Esdras tells us that the wings of the eagle spoken of in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, was mentioned but not expanded upon. And it claims that this book, second book of Esdras, chapters 11, 12, and 13, expatiates on the identity and qualities of this 3-headed eagle. And it seems to suggest that the eagle represents Esau or Edom or Rome or Western civilization, those who currently have dominion over the earth. The center head being the United States of America, the head on the left being the European Union, and that on the right being Russia. And of course, the feathers on the wing speak of the presidents of the United States of America, starting with J. Edgar Hoover, moving upwards. And the wing on the left side with 6 feathers speaks of Trump during his first term, Biden, and now the third and fourth feathers speak of Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance. And it seems from this prophecy they will be the last 2 to reign, after which will come the 2 feathers, Imam al-Mahdi and the Islamic prophet Isa. Of course, this matter goes back to Genesis, the story of Jacob and Esau. Esau being Edom, as he came out red. It is a story of a struggle for dominion, a struggle for power. And so Esau came out red, and Edom, Medes. red. Genesis 25:25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And so the descendants of Esau or Edom, the red ones, currently have dominion over the earth. And so we can safely say that the descendants of Esau, the red ones, are those who currently have dominion over the earth. And so the question is, how come they have dominion? You see, this entire matter finds its origin in the book of Genesis. Cain, the beast and original son of perdition, the original Apollyon, Abaddon. You see, everything in Revelation has its origin in Genesis. Nothing in the Bible happens in isolation. And so the first beast was Cain. I would like for you to look up the references. Genesis chapter 4, verses 23, 24. Genesis chapter 4, verses 9 to 16. The book of Jasher, chapter 2, verses 26 to 36. You see, Cain was the first beast, the original son of perdition. He is also the one that is described in Daniel 7, verse 8, Revelation 9:11, Revelation 11:7, Revelation 17:8. You see, Cain is the original beast, the original son of perdition, son of destruction. So, the book of Jasher, chapter 2, verses 27 to 36, the beast or the animal is killed. Revelation 17, verses 7 to 11, the beast that rises out of the abyss, because after Cain's death he became a spiritual being. Genesis 4, verses 10 to 14. This being was cursed and hidden. Second Thessalonians 2, verses 3 and 4 speaks of the son of perdition or destruction who is revealed. Of course, he is revealed because he was initially hidden. Genesis 4, verses 15. The first existence of Cain plus sevenfold vengeance for anyone who kills Cain. This is the reason why the beast manifests a total of 8 times. Revelation 17, verses 8 to 11. The beast, or the animal, manifests a total of 8 times on the earth. Remember, the Lord states that anyone who killed Cain would suffer vengeance sevenfold. And then Genesis 4, verse 15. Cain, the beast, is marked. Revelation 13, verses 15 to 18. The beast gives his mark to his followers, not a mere coincidence. Revelation 9, verse 11, King of the Abyss. Revelation 17, 8 to 11, King of the bottomless pit, the son of perdition, the son of destruction. You see, it all began with Cain, the original son of perdition, Apollyon, Abaddon, the spirit of the beast who is destined to manifest upon the earth a total of 8 times. And you see, it is the spirit of Cain who is destined to manifest a total of 8 times that is behind most of the world empires, from Iran to Babylon to Assyria to Egypt to Persia to the Nabateans, the descendants of Edom, to the Greek, and to Rome, West, and Islam, the East. You see, Cain was the first manifestation of this beast. Nimrod is the second manifestation of the same spirit of the beast. And so, the beast, in his various manifestations, the one who is referred to as the one with many names, Cain, Nimrod, Esau, Gilgamesh, Horus, Phoebus, Polo, Helios, Sol, Abaddon, Donald Trump, and as his final manifestation, the Imam al-Mahdi. This, of course, is not an exhaustive list, for this beast has many names, as he disguises himself and he tries to deceive mankind in his many manifestations. The one Daniel referred to as the little horn, Nimrod, the mighty hunter against the Lord, the father of all pagan worship. Of course, I am sure you're asking, well, what's the connection between Nimrod and Esau? You see, Esau killed Nimrod, and in fact, one of Abram's seed, a wicked seed, did spring up in Nimrod's latter days and kill him. From the book of Yashar, chapter 27, verse 4. And on a certain day Esau went in the field to hunt, and he found Nimrod walking in the wilderness with his 2 men. Verse 5. And all his mighty men and his people were with him in the wilderness, but they removed at a distance from him, and they went from him in different directions to hunt. And Esau concealed himself from Nimrod, and he lurked for him in the wilderness. Verse 6. And Nimrod and his men that were with him did not know, and Nimrod and his men frequently walked about in the field at the cool of the day, and to know where his men were hunting in the field. Verse 7. And Nimrod and two of his men that were with him came to the place where they were when Esau started suddenly from his lurking place, and drew his sword, and hastened, and ran to Nimrod, and cut off his head. And Esau, verse 8, fought a desperate fight with the two men that were with Nimrod. And when they called out to him, Esau turned to them and smote them to death with his sword. Nimrod ruled with the garments which Elohim made for Adam and his woman. Nimrod had the garments that Jehovah made for Adam and his woman. They had been handed down to him through Ham and made him strong. It was these garments that were coveted by Esau. Yeshar, chapter 7, verse 24. And the garments of skin which God made for Adam and his woman when they went out of the garden were given to Cush. Verse 25. For after the death of Adam and his woman, the garments were given to Enoch, the son of Jared. And when Enoch was taken up to God, he gave them to Methuselah, his son. Verse 26. And at the death of Methuselah, Noah took them and brought them to the ark, and they were with him until he went out of the ark. Verse 27. And in their going out, Ham stole those garments from Noah his father, and he took them and hid them from his brothers. Verse 28. And when Ham begat his firstborn, Cush, he gave him the garments in secret, and they were with Cush many days. Verse 29. And Cush also concealed them from his sons and brothers. And when Cush had begotten Nimrod, he gave him those garments through his love for him. And Nimrod grew up, and when he was 20 years old, he put on those garments. Verse 30. And Nimrod became strong when he put on the garments. Nimrod had dominion because of the garments. Esau stole garments. Yashar, chapter 27, verse 10. And when Esau saw the mighty men of Nimrod coming at a distance, he fled and thereby escaped. And Esau took the valuable garments of Nimrod, which Nimrod's father had bequeathed to Nimrod, and with which Nimrod prevailed over the whole land, with which Nimrod had dominion over the whole land, and he ran and concealed them in his house. The garment or the apron. And this is how Esau and his descendants acquired dominion over the earth. You see, when Esau killed Nimrod, he stole the garments of dominion, and he was possessed by the spirit of the beast. This is what ensured that Esau and his descendants would have dominion. which they still possess until this very day. And then Esau despised his birthright. Now we know why Esau was so weary when he came from the field and met Yaakov, and was so nonchalant about his birthright. Yeshar 27 verse 11, and Esau took those garments and ran into the city on account of Nimrod's men, and he came unto his father's house weary and exhausted from fight, and he was ready to die through grief when he approached his brother Yaakov and sat before him. Verse 12, and he said unto his brother Yaakov, Behold, I shall die this day, and wherefore then do I want the birthright? And Yaakov acted wisely with Esau in this matter, and Esau sold his birthright to Yaakov, for it was so brought about by Jehovah. Verse 13, and Esau's portion in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the sons of Heth for the possession of a burial ground, Esau also sold to Yaakov, and Yaakov bought all this from his brother Esau for value given. Now Yaakov cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to Yaakov, Please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary. Therefore his name was called Edom. But Yaakov said, Sell me your birthright as of this day. And Esau said, Look, I am about to die. So what is this birthright to me? Then Yaakov said, Swear to me as of this day. So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Yaakov. And Yaakov gave Esau bread and stew of lentils. Then he ate and drank, arose, and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Genesis 25, verses 29 to 34. And that is how Yaakov won dominion back from Esau. We're at a time when this is about to find manifestation. You see, Esau is Edom. In 2nd Esdras chapter 6, verse 9 tells us, For Esau is the end of the world, because Esau currently has dominion, and Yaakov is the beginning of it that followeth. Esau is about to hand over dominion to Yaakov. And what are the origins of Esau? You see, this story will take us into the rock of Petra, the stronghold of the Edomites, the Nabateans. Petra, the birthplace of Western civilization. And what does Petra mean? Well, it means a sheepfold, and a sheepfold is a pen or shelter for sheep. Very significant. Petra is the Greek word for a city in southern Jordan today that was known in the Old Testament times as Bozrah. The word Petra means rock, and the word Bozrah means sheepfold and or fortress. It is located in the ancient region of Edom, which is southeast of the Dead Sea in modern-day Jordan. Edom is the name given to Jacob's brother Esau, Genesis 25:30, whose name means red, Genesis 25:25. The rock in Petra is red, and the city entrance and interior have characteristics of a sheepfold. Very prophetic. And of course, Edom is represented by the eagle. Jeremiah 49, verse 16, Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldst make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring you down from thence, saith the Lord, speaking of the judgment of Edom, the eagle. And here we have the Nabatean depiction of the goddess Artagatis, dating from AD 100. The eagle on her head is believed to be a symbol of Kos, the god of the Nabateans, the god of the Edomites. Kos, the pride of Edom. So now I'm sure you understand the reason why most Western nations have the eagle as their symbol, from Rome to the United States to Germany to the Third Reich, and the double-headed phoenix or the double-headed eagle of Russia. These are all references to Kos, the pride of Edom. What we can refer to as Rome or the Western world. And they are the ones who have been infected with the Se'arim. The Hebrew word Se'arim, singular Se'er, means hairy beings. The word Se'er is also the Hebrew word for he-goat. Remember that Esau was hairy and red? Connection to the Se'er, the Se'arim. You see, the Se'arim or Se'er were goat demons that resided in the ancient Levant, notably in the land of Bashan and around Mount Hermon, where the fallen ones landed upon the earth, base of the watchers. The ancient Israelites were ordered by God to not worship or give offerings to the Se'arim. Alongside the Shedim and Moloch, due to their demonic nature, it was also likely that they were the servants of Azazel, Baal, Baphomet, Beelzebub, Behemoth, one of the fallen watchers, a prince of hell and local wilderness or desert deity. They might also have had a connection with the Khan and the satyrs of Greece. since the horn would be later worshipped in their domain by the Romans and the Greeks. Remember the rebel fallen angels of Genesis 6, who had as their leader Azazel, or Baal, or Allah, or Baphomet, or Beelzebub, or Behemoth, the chief of the fallen ones, the Se'irim, who is worshipped by the sons of Edom. Azazel, Behemoth, Baphomet, Baal, Lord, owner, possessor. You see, this entity referred to as Baphomet is also the one referred to as Hubal, or Baal, or Allah, and equated to death. Satan. That is why it is rather intriguing that Petra is also referred to as the true birthplace of Islam. As we deduce from this article, the Nabateans worshipped Arab gods and goddesses during the pre-Islamic era, as well as a few of their deified kings. One, Obodas first, was deified after his death. Dushara was the primary male god, accompanied by his three female deities, Al-Uzal, Alat, and Manat. Many statues carved in the rock depict these gods and goddesses. New evidence indicates that broader Edomite and Nabatean theology had strong links to Earth Sun relationships, often manifested in the orientation of prominent Petra structures to equinox and solstice, sunrises, and sunsets. A stele dedicated to Kos Allah, or Kos is Allah, or Kos the god, by Kos Milk, Melek, meaning God, is found at Petra. Kos is identifiable with Kosh or Kosh, the god of the older Edomites. The stele is horned, and the seal from the Edomite Talwinian near Petra, identified with Kaush, displays a star and crescent, both consistent with a moon deity. It is conceivable that the latter could have resulted from trade with Haran. There is continuing debate about the nature of Kosh or Kosh, which can also mean bow, who has been identified both with a hunting bow, the hunting god, Esau, and a rainbow, weather god, although the crescent above the stele is also a reference to a bow. So you see here, Kos, pride of Edom, is equated to Allah, the god of Islam. Nabatean inscriptions in Sinai and other places display widespread reference to names including Allah, El, and Alat, God and Goddess, with regional reference to Al Uzza, Baal, Manutu, Manat. Alat is also found in Sinai in South Arabian language. Allah occurs particularly as Garamalahi, God, decided, Greek Garmelios, and Aush Allahi, God's covenant, Greek Aushalos. We find both Shalom Lahi, Allah is peace, and Shalom Alat, peace of the goddess. We also find Amat Allahi, she servant of God, and Alaf Lahi, the successor of Allah. Recently, Petra has been put forward as the original direction of Muslim prayer, the Qibla, by some that the earliest mosques faced Petra, not Jerusalem or Mecca. This view is also shared by Abdullah Hashim, the self-proclaimed Kim of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. However, others have challenged the notion of comparing modern readings of Qibla directions to early mosques. Qiblas, as they claim, early Muslims could not accurately calculate the direction of the Qibla to Mecca, and so the apparent pinpointing of Petra by some early mosques may well be coincidental. The link to Petra as the birthplace of Islam. Now, apart from their symbol, the eagle, and their affiliation with the Se'irim, their worship of Baphomet, we also know the descendants of Edom via their architecture, which is very similar to what we find in Petra across the entire Western world. And in particular, the United States of America, the most obvious expression of Edom. And it is the descendants of Edom who rule the world through secret societies, the Freemasons, the builders, the ones who destroy and build back better, the ones who adhere to the principles of ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos. And their Lord is the man of many names, Nimrod, Cain, beast. That is why you find his symbol on their garments, on their apron. Tower of Babel may have been inspired by the Babylonian Tower Temple north of Marduk Temple, which in Babylonian was called Babilu, Gate of God, Hebrew from Babel or Bavel. The similarity in pronunciation of Babel and Balal to confuse led to the play on words in Genesis 11 verse 9. Therefore, its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And that is why he has many names. Because as the Lord confused their languages, they all took the knowledge of their lord Nimrod to the various parts of the earth. The entity with many names, who will manifest a total of 8 times upon the earth. Cain, Nimrod, Esau, Gilgamesh, Horus, Phoebus, Apollo, Helios, Sol, Badon, Donald Trump, and Imam al-Mahdi, beast from out of the sea. You see, the Tower of Babel was a gateway to other dimensions, a warped replica of the Temple Mount and the Temple, which is a gateway to the heavenly Jerusalem. So you see, just as the Temple Mount was supposed to be a gateway to the heavenly Jerusalem, the Tower of Babel was supposed to be a perverted version of the Temple Mount, a place where a portal is open to the other dimension, the gate of the gods. And just as Jacob slept and saw a ladder leading all the way to heaven with angels ascending and descending, the floor of the Masonic temple was supposed to be a counterfeit of the Temple Mount. And instead of Yeshua being at the top of the ladder, they have their God at the top of the ladder. So the floor of the Masonic lodge is supposed to be a warped counterfeit of the Ibn Hashaitiyah foundation stone. Foundation stone, Hebrew, Romanized, Ibn Hashaitiyah, foundation stone or the noble rock, Arabic, Romanized, Al Shakran al Musarraf, the noble stone, is the rock at the center of the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. It is also known as the pierced stone because it has a small hole on the southeastern corner that enters a cavern beneath the rock known as the soul, the well of souls, the Eben Hashaitiyah on the Temple Mount, of which the floor of the Masonic temple is supposed to be a warped replica. Genesis 28, verse 13. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. The promise to Yaakov, the Temple Mount, which is replicated by the Masons at their various lodges, which is meant to be the modern representation of the Tower of Babel, the gate that leads to their gods. And that is why upon their apron you have symbolic references to different things. You have the beehive, the tree, which is an obvious reference to the beehive, and the tree on the left hand side is a reference to one of the entities that will rise from the abyss at the end of time, the bee, referenced in Isaiah 7, verse 18. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and the bee that is in the land of Assyria, a reference to Apollyon, Abaddon, the son of perdition. And then, of course, we also have a reference to the pyramid on the right hand side, which is a reference to the second entity that rises at the end of the age, the one referred to in Revelation 13, the beast from out of the earth, the fly, referenced in Isaiah 17, verse 18. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, the reference to the pyramid, false prophet, the one that carries the spirit of Azazel, Behemoth, Beelzebub, Baphomet. An architectural term denoting the top stone in a building or wall. If it caps an arch, it is called a keystone. The expression is used twice in the Old Testament, Psalm 118, verse 22, and Zechariah 4, verse 7. In Zechariah 4, verse 7, it is clearly the capstone of the temple, and it is in view. And this symbol, the back of the dollar bill, is obviously a counterfeit to that capstone, Yeshua. And of course, in this year of the Jubilee, that capstone has now arrived and taken his place. So you see, the sons of Esau, those who currently rule the world through their secret societies, Freemasons or builders, the ones who destroy and build back better, the ones who adhere to the principles of Ordu Abkeo, the red ones, currently have dominion over the earth. And they are represented by characters such as this King of England, symbol of Edom, the red ones. They are the masons, the craftsmen, carpenters, builders, craftsmen, carpenters, artificer, mason, smith, worker, workman, skillful to destroy, warriors, the ones who currently have dominion over the earth. And this character, King Charles, is a very symbolic representation of Edom and their dominion over the world. Those who rule via their secret societies. Those who currently have dominion. As evidenced by pictures such as this. Note the individual marked as number 1 in this picture. The Duke Kent, aged 87 at the time, the Duke of Kent, a cousin of the late Elizabeth II, has been a working royal since retiring from the British Army in 1976, best known for presenting the winners' trophies at Wimbledon for more than 5 decades. At the coronation, he wore a mourning coat and over it the navy blue order of the Greater Mantle and Collar. He is wearing the Greater Star and Order of St. Michael and St. George neck decoration. I'm sure you will be surprised to know that this character is indeed a Freemason. Prince Edward, Duke Kent, Edward George Nicholas Paul Patrick, born 9 October 1935, was elected the most worshipful Grand Master and was installed on 14 June 1967 during United Grand Lodge of England's 250th anniversary celebrations at the Royal Albert Hall. The ones who have dominion, the ones who rule via their secret societies, wearing their aprons, the symbol of the garments of dominion stolen from Nimrod by their ancestor Esau, the Red One. We are now at the time of the end of the builders. Because in this year of the Jubilee, 5785, which began October 2024 and will last till October 2025, we will witness the end of Edom's dominion. Because in this year of the Yovel, Edom must hand over dominion. The sons of Edom must hand over dominion to the son of Jacob, and his dominion will be an everlasting dominion. However, before dominion is handed over to the son of Jacob, Yeshua, the dominion of the descendants of Esau must come to an end. And that is exactly what we're about to witness in this year of the Yovel, the fall of Edom, the end of Western hegemony. And this fall of Edom will commence with the treacherous deal when Saudi Arabia is introduced to the false peace covenant, the Abraham Accords. This will begin the fall of Edom, virgin daughter of Babylon, USA. And how will this end begin? Well, the Lord will allow the plans of the enemy to find manifestation, as the enemy will cause the Edomites to go against one another. Of course, we know that the fallen leave their signature signs, the double-headed phoenix and the P-square and compass, speaking of the agents of fallen ones, the Freemasons. Is it a coincidence that Trump has the double-headed phoenix on his coat of arms? Same as Russia, Vladimir Putin. Could it be that the fallen are trying to tell us that these characters will be used to bring about the fall of Edom? You see, the time has come for Edom to fall. Time has come when Yeshua will allow their plans to find manifestation. And it is at this time when Edom falls that Yeshua, the Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, will arrive.
Thank you very much for listening to me. I look forward to seeing you at the next installment. Until then, I remain your faithful watchman, standing on the wall, blowing the horn as loudly as I can. And I am out.